ओके, ठीक
अभी
है।
आप है ना मैसेज कर देना, कॉल करो।
Hello, Deborah. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
How
Good
are you?
evening. Good.
Nice.
How are
Hi,
you?
Sarah. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Hello, Dr. Kellogg.
Hi, Umi.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing?
I'm also doing good.
Let
How is
me,
the situation there in Colorado?
things are going fine here.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, we had a training session around 2 weeks back with Emma, and she told us that everything is quite okay in Colorado, not many cases, and so the university is going ahead with its plan for the fall intake and not going online at this time, I think, right?
Well,
I'm
yeah,
gonna I'm gonna turn my volume up a little bit. I'm having a
Yes.
little.
it's going to be some sort of hybrid this fall. So we will have some classes in person and some classes online.
Okay, okay, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had
I
shared.
think for the business school, I think even our on-campus classes are going to be. They're calling it high flex, just because of needing to maintain the physical distance. We can't put 40 students in the classroom. So students, a third of them will attend, and then the next third will attend, and each lecture will be recorded. So is students in a class that is this high flex, every third week or every third class you'll be in class, and the rest of the time you'll watch the video recording live, and it'll be set up just like we're talking now, so they can participate in the class via
Right,
Zoom.
right. Okay. One second. Um, just a second. Yeah. So, Dr. Deborah, you look into both the undergraduate and masters in business analytics. Do you teach?
All we have is a master's right now.
Okay. At the College of Business, there's only masters.
It's a master's of science from the business school, correct?
Okay, okay, okay. And Emma, I just wanted to know whether we can take other questions, like if they come up from the students, not related to business analytics and some other programs.
Sure.
I,
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, okay. So we'll be just waiting for 2-3 minutes more, and we will start with the webinar uh, at 7:30 sharp, right?
okay.
Yeah, yeah. We will start the webinar. And first of all, I'd like to introduce the team Denver. And all the attendees, a very good evening to all of you. And we are back with another exciting webinar. And this webinar is on the Business Analytics program of the Business School of CU Denver, Colorado University, Denver. And we have with us today Dr. Deborah Kellogg. She is the Associate Professor of Business Analytics. We have with us Emma Slatland. She is the International Recruitment and Enrollment Coordinator. So we have the experts with us, and you should be prepared with your questions. Start typing your questions as soon as they come in your mind in the chat box. And meanwhile, I'll just take you through the agenda of today's meeting. Today's webinar will start with Dr. Deborah's presentation, and after that we'll have some questions for the presenters, and then we'll take the questions from the attendees. So this would be the agenda, and please type your questions to me. My name is Umi. So let me introduce myself. I'm Umi Saran, and I look into the University Relations Department. I head the department at the Globalizers. I'm with the Globalizers since the last 4 years. The Globalizers itself is a very renowned education consultancy and the training test preparation center here in Central India. And the Globalizers is here since the last 14 years. And we have mentored around 5,000 students under the able leadership of Mr. Prashant Himnani, who is the founder of the company and fondly known as Prashant sir. So let's not waste any more time, and I would like to request Dr. Deborah to please start with her presentation and address the students.
I'm going to start by sharing the screen. Oh, I'm going to need to, this is disabled.
Okay.
I need to share my screen.
Yes, yes. Please give us 1 minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you'll be able to share now. Just try once again.
Okay. Okay. Emma and I are going to kind of team do this, and Emma has an awful lot of information just about the university, the culture here, the process for enrolling, and what you can expect to get. So she's going to start the presentation, and then I will pick up and give you specifics about the business analytics program in the business school. So take it away, Emma.
Thank you, Dr. Kellogg. So I'll just start with a quick overview of the University of Colorado, Denver, and then just touch very quickly on the application procedures, and then I'll let Dr. Kellogg talk about the business analytics program. So the University of Colorado, Denver offers quality academic programs. We are ranked in the top 5% of all universities in the US, and according to the US News and World Report ranking. And next slide, please. We offer really excellent career outcomes because we are located in the heart of a major US city. So the business school has more than 300 partnerships with local businesses. We have internship opportunities with hundreds of employers. And we have a large number of STEM OPT eligible programs, including the business analytics program does have that STEM OPT designation, but we have many other programs as well. And next slide. And sort of what's the most unique about CU Denver is that we're located right in the heart of downtown Denver, which has been ranked the #2 best place to live in the US, according to US News and World Report. It's a really great city with a very strong economy, so just a really great place to be. So quick overview of the university. We are a comprehensive public research university. We're part of the University of Colorado system. We are medium sized, so we have about 15,000 students. 7% of that is international, including a very large Indian student population. Indian students are our second largest international population. Today we're focusing on business analytics, but we do have more than 140 programs, so a lot to choose from. And we're talking about the business school today, which is AACSB accredited. A accreditation meaning the business schools in the top 5% of all business schools globally. So I'm going to go over just very quickly the application requirements for the business analytics program. So we need, of course, the application, your undergraduate transcripts. We do require individual mark sheets showing failed exams. We do look at backlogs. We need proof of English language proficiency. So we accept IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo. So you can see our minimum scores on the right there. The business analytics program does require the GRE or the GMAT. Either exam will be accepted. And then we have the sort of standard graduate application requirements, resume, statement of purpose, recommendations. And we do accept 3-year bachelor's degrees for all of our master's programs. And for all students applying through the globalizers, we do not charge an application fee. So we'll waive that fee for you. This is the question on the application, how we know you're applying via globalizers, and also how we waive the application fee. So just make sure to pay attention to this question and answer yes and choose globalizers from the drop-down list.
It's my turn
And
now.
yes,
Was
take it away.
Were you done? Were you done, Emma?
I am done. Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm going to pick up now because I think that you're attending this because you not only wanted to know about University of Colorado at Denver, but you want to kind of know about our business analytics program. We kind of call this BANA for business analytics, not to be confused with the fruit, banana, which we sometimes call ourselves when we're being humorous. The faculty is kind of important to you. It's not a very long list, but you'll see in my next slide that it really doesn't have to be. I'm Deborah Kellogg. My PhD emphasis was in operations. I kind of am unique in that my undergraduate degree was in nursing. So if any of you kind of are thinking, I don't know if I really fit into this, you fit into this into business analytics as well as I do if I can come into this as a nurse. And I truly see the value of using data to make decisions from that perspective, because I think it can be a great help to people. I am the director of the program right now. It's kind of a rotating thing, so it's not a guarantee that I'll always be the director. I've been sharing this with the next person on the list, Dr. Gary Kokenberger. He's getting ready to retire, but has a very well-known international reputation in optimization. Marlene Smith is by training an econometrician, so she knows business statistics both at a macro level and a very micro level, and really does know a lot of techniques to help business people make better decisions. Our two newest or youngest faculty members are Dr. Udu and Dr. Stefan Poikinen. Yu comes to us from obviously China to start with, but did her PhD work at a really unique program at Rutgers University, which was a data analytics program, but sponsored and tied deeply with some of the biggest corporations, IBM, Google. And so she's got a really strong application orientation. Dr. Poikinen did his work at Delaware, and he's probably the cutting edge person. And when we were interviewing him, we always called him the drone guy because his research studied drones, and a really tough problem because he didn't look at drones flying from a stationary point to another point and back. He studied applications that you would find in military applications, and even things like Amazon, where the drone would be launched from a moving truck or ship or tank, and then goes and does what it needs to do, and then comes back to that ship or truck or tank, which is now in a different location. And so these are very, very complex network problems, and we're really, really lucky to have him. Our newest faculty member is Dr. Cox. He also has an international reputation, MIT trained. He's not a brand new graduate though, has worked for years and years in the Denver area with his own consulting and software company. Does a lot of decision-making and risk management work, is a fellow with the Informs group, which actually has the certification for data analytics. So he is, we were really, really lucky to have him, and he provides just an amazing network of business people from his consulting work that we get good problems from. Dr. Michael Harper is one of our senior lecturers. He is a statistician by training, also has a lot of business experience. Marcus Ellis is one of our lecturers. He is actually not in Denver. Comes to us from industry, teaches online. I believe he's living in North Carolina right now, but does a wonderful job with online education. Just years and years and years of experience being the pricing analytics person with big industries, the inventory analytics, the customer analytics. So he does a lot of that linkage with marketing, and it's just amazing. I kind of grayed out Dr. Sabo's name. He is part of our faculty, and I mention him because he might provide an opportunity for some teaching assistantship. Dr. Sabo is also a statistician by education with a degree from education school. Vanderbilt, in fact, a good education school. He teaches undergraduates, and these are just basic business degree classes. We don't have an undergraduate degree in business analytics per se, but he teaches statistics and operations, loves the undergraduate group. You won't have classes from him. Now the students, and now you'll see why our small faculty doesn't really it's small because our student bodies are pretty small. We have approximately 50 students in our program at any one time. And this is remarkable because it gives us a ratio of 8 to 1, 8 students to 1 faculty member. So you'll really get to know not only the students that you're going to school with, but you'll get to know the faculty members really well also. So we're small in size. We don't really have a cohort program where everybody takes the same classes lockstep. But with only 50 students, some starting in fall, some starting in spring, you get to know your fellow classmates really well. This helps with group work and giving each other, the boost and the confidence to keep going when times get tough. As opposed to the general campus, 49% of our business analytics students are international. I know a lot of international students are very concerned about how long it's going to take them to get through the program. I put the current statistics there. 2/3 finish within 2 years. 76% finish within 3 years. We've been getting everybody 100% out within 6 years. And don't let that daunt you. The domestic students we have often are just taking 1 or 2 classes at a time. They have full-time jobs here in the Denver area, and they just come to class taking 1 or 2 at a time. And so they're kind of on the 5-year plan. Some of them we grant dispensation to take it within 6 years. Our program. This is kind of my big, I've got a couple of slides to go here. I want to make sure you understand the difference between business analytics versus data science. I think our attrition rate comes from students not understanding what they're getting, and they enter our program thinking they're going to get data science. So I want to make sure you have a clear grasp on what we teach and what we expect. So I'll talk a little bit about generically what the analytics field looks like, how we've kind of tailored our niche, and then look at our degree plans and our courses, and then just talk about what it would be like to be a student in our program. This comes from Northeastern University. I've got the site there. Data analysts do most of their work with coding. They're heavy coders. They do use large data sets. They develop some models. Excuse me. This is the data analytics use this, and this is I got to slow down. Data analytics. I'm being generic. Business analytics answer business questions. So we fit into this data analytics kind of category, and we use these large data sets to identify trends, develop models, do visual presentations to help businesses make more strategic decisions. So this is what data analysts do. If this is what you want to do, just develop models, create presentations, help businesses make better decisions. This is what you want. Data scientists and data science, on the other hand, they actually make algorithms. They build the programming for the models, and new processes, heavily coding. Typically, these people are educated in computer science departments. And our school does have a vibrant computer science department that has a large big data center. And I know that we were trying to get the computer science people to talk, and maybe after this COVID and summer ends, you'll be able to actually talk with them if this is more of what you want. Data scientists do their work for machines. Business analysts do their work for people. You might be scratching your head, how do you do work for a machine? And I think the best kind of example of this is, you know, with Netflix, when you watch a bunch of movies and they say, oh, you might be interested in, and then they give you a list of similar movies that you might want to watch. I know my public library, when I check out a book, if you like this book, you might try these books. That's the work data scientists do. They take the data you use and they have the machine recommend something else. Business analysts say, here's the data, you know, CEO John Smith wants an answer to this question, so we're doing work for people. And so maybe that will help you understand the difference. You won't learn Hadoop in our program. That's a data science. That's having machines talk to machines. So I hope you get the drift. We do a wonderful job at helping you take an ill-formed question from a business person, decide what data you need, and you have skills and tools on how to get that data, and then a big toolbox full of different modeling techniques to actually analyze that data and then get back to CEO John Smith and give him some recommendations of what to do next. So this is kind of this is how people would do that generically. This pyramid is, I think it started with IBM. Everybody's put their kind of own little kind of niche in it, but this was a pretty picture. So this is the one I used. The bottom blue section is almost what we would call business intelligence. Standard reports, some ad hoc reports. Some of the statistics I got for how many students we have was an ad hoc report, but it comes from a function that would be called business intelligence. And you would certainly be well trained in business intelligence coming from our program. Maybe some alerts. To be really to do the advanced analytics, and what we would in addition teach you besides what's in a business intelligence program would be a lot of statistical analytics, not just the kind you maybe already had going through multiple regression, but really heavy duty, strong statistical skills. Forecasting and extrapolation. How do you move beyond the data you have to predicting what's in the future? All of the predictive modeling. And predictive modeling are using the machine learning tools. We don't build those tools, but we use those tools. And then finally, optimization, where we actually can tell people what to change to do better. This is how our program kind of takes that pyramid and makes it special to us with the teaching skills that we have. We want to teach students how to find a data-driven solution to any business problem. So you will be studying finance problems, operations problems, supply chain management problems, strategic problems, just tactical or day-to-day operating problems. You can, and in the context of a business environment. We really focus on the model building. How do you choose a model? How do you diagnose whether the model fits properly? How do you make sure the data you're using is correct? And so those are the skills you'll really hone in on. Our modeling framework is the descriptive analytics, what's happening at this very moment. Then predictive analytics. What if we don't change anything? What's going to happen next? The causal analytics is, what things might we manipulate to not just accept what's coming next, but to change what's coming next. And these feed into the prescriptive analytics. Hire 3 more workers and then you can increase your output by this much. So those are the prescriptive analytics, and what should we do about it? What can we do about it? What should we do about it? The last 3 are kind of very new to the field. Evaluation analytics, how well is it working? We probably maybe have done this for years and years with statistical process control. That would be the very simplest way of how well it's working, just our plain old control charts. But that's becoming more and more rich field of where people are doing research. Finally, learning analytics. How do we do this whole process better? And then collaboration, how do we work in teams? And that's kind of how we're looking at this field and how we're training you. Our degree plan starts with 3 required courses. The first just being a really heavy duty review of statistics for business analytics. This is taught in R. You do not have to know R to enter our program. You will learn R in this program, but this takes you well beyond the standard kind of just regression. It's a very quantitatively oriented class. The computing for business analytics does 2 things. It makes sure you've got Python skills and some SQL skills. We get some of our graduates coming back and saying, the very first thing they did is put me into a cubicle and told me to analyze this problem, but they didn't give me the data. They just gave me access to the database. And you'll find that that's kind of really the way it is. You do need the SQL and those, at least the database skills, so you can use any kind of language to get the data you want. And then we give you a little kind of optimization introduction, and this is going to actually move into machine language optimization. So that's, again, it gives you those kind of basic skills, and from then you can move on. We want to make sure that you keep a very quantitative focus on things. And so we have these second tier core courses. You do have a little bit of choice on these. There's a forecasting course, a decision analysis course. Decision analysis, sometimes as I advise students, they say, why do I need that? It is actually one of the courses that most of our students tell us was the most valuable they took. It's not only quantitative, but very, very behavioral in nature. So you learn kind of the cognitive ways that people make decisions, not only the risk analysis and decision trees and things like that, but very, very cognitive. And that's really Dr. Cox's specialty. And so he's going to be teaching that course. And it is just an excellent course. He's taught it for us before we even hired him. The predictive analytics, again, gives everybody the machine learning and those skills, which is really marketable skills right now. And then obviously Dr. Poikinen is going to teach some network modeling, and you too can control the drones. And we could call you the drone guy or gal. So those are our core courses and the really important ones. From there you get some electives, so you can custom tailor this for yourself. There's a project management course. This is a kind of, students kind of say, why do I need that? Everybody who's going into business at the very least needs to manage their own projects, but you'll find that there's a lot of data that needs analyzing within other people's projects. So that is a really critical course. Supply chain has certainly been in the news a lot lately. It doesn't just teach you kind of like operations supply chain. It gets into the analytics of supply chain. And so that's, again, a very key course. Web analytics, it gets you actually ready for Google Analytics exam, so you can become a authorized Google Analytics person. Data visualization, again, web analytics and data visualization are taught only online right now. Again, a very, very key. That takes you through not only the psychological, cognitive kind of processing things, but making sure you can do the graphing you need to do in Excel, in R with ggplot, and Tableau. With only 8 faculty members and 50 students to teach, we don't teach everything, and we couldn't begin to teach everything. We gratefully use courses from other departments in the university, and that's what's good about being at a place like University of Colorado at Denver. We have a lot of different places you can go to. Our information systems department in the School of Business, they certainly offer a text mining class and some other a database management class if you need more of those. The computer science class, the applied mathematics class. We offer a geographical information systems certification in the geography department, and the econometrics department in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences also has applicable classes that you can petition to. I want to caution that you have to meet the admission standards for all of these. If you're thinking that, wait a minute, I already have an engineering degree, I already have a computer science or an electrical engineering degree, I would really like more computer science, please take the GRE as opposed to the GMAT. They're going to want to see those scores. Another thing that is really highly recommended is to use one of your electives as an internship. These are often done in the summer term. This has been an unusual summer term with COVID. And so we've had fewer of those, but many, many students, including international students, will get a lot of the classes under their belt, and then in that summer take an internship and then maybe an online class. I put the continual improvement in gold. We don't have a class called continual improvement, but we are continually improving our program by adding electives and adding new courses, and in addition to just include doing improvement on the courses that are already in. So just because I've said these things change because we think it's better that they change. The experience, we offer on-campus classes, hybrid classes, and online courses. We are not an online program, although in fall, we're still going to have a big online presence. We're going to try to get as many students back on campus, but some of that's even in on-campus classes is going to be on a rotating basis. So we will be transitioning back to on-campus. I hesitated using the bright background with all the nice buildings because we're on an evening schedule and we have a wonderful photo of the business school all lit up at night. But those on-campus classes are taught in the evening. The first one starting about 5:30, and then the second one, and that'll be on a two evening a week class, and then a longer 3-hour session which starts at 6:30. So those you'll be in class until about 9:30 at night. Required courses are taught in the fall and spring. You can start either in fall or spring. Only elective courses are taught in summer, so don't expect to try to start in summer and get those 3 required classes done. All we teach are elective courses in the spring, but although elective courses are also taught in fall and spring, it's just that in summer, that's all you can take are elective courses. I want to caution that the program is not designed to be completed within one calendar year, but many students, they manage to get this done, but you do have some limitations. You don't quite get the choice that you might want. You have to take what's offered, maybe not what you wanted to take, and you do have to be a very, very dedicated student without a lot of non-school activities, because you'd be very busy just doing schoolwork, taking 3 to 4 classes a term, which is quite a bit. That's all I had. I'm sure that you have other questions to ask, and I'll slow down a little bit. Here's some contact information. You can certainly address anything to me that you haven't already done in the text and the chat box. Specific to business school, I've put that email address in. That would be a good place for you to go if, and I'm sure that Emma would refer you to them when you start needing more specifics. But Emma certainly is the person to get you started down the road to all the international things, because there's an extra layer of things that you have to do that the business school can't help you with. And that's the end of mine, so I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you, Dr. Kellogg. It was really a very comprehensive presentation, and you covered
Too quick.
almost everything, like the difference between data science and business analytics, and your own background. That is very interesting. Even I read about it. So when I was just going through your profile, that you have come from the nursing background. So I think that must be a very good inspiration for those students who come from different streams and they are not sure whether they are the right fit for business analytics or not. So thanks a lot. And now we have a few questions for you. And before that, I would just like to know that whether GRE, GMAT, as mentioned, which is required for the business analytics program, is it waived off for this fall due to the COVID situation?
Actually, before the GMAT and GRE people started offering an online, we were using the practice test, but both the GRE and the GMAT now can be taken online at home. And so we are no longer waiving them. Students should have the option. I do want to tell people that we are a STEM designated, and quantitative skills are important to us. But don't do those at the expense of the verbal. I've seen applications come through where students are scoring in the first percentile in the verbal part of their exams. And it's not because they can't do it, it's because they didn't even take that part of the test. They were under the impression that all we cared about was the quantitative part of the exam, and so just studied for that and then just didn't even submit one question. You can't be a good business analyst if you can't give a presentation, if you can't write, if you can't demonstrate those skills. You'll practice those in your classes. You'll have to do student presentations. You'll have to do those things. And we can't accept you if you don't meet a certain minimum standard. So please don't ignore the verbal part of those exams.
Right. That is very true. And I think IELTS or TOEFL is also required. So the students cannot avoid that at any point. And communication skills do matter a lot. So I think we'll go over to the questions now. So the first question is that I think you have already answered that, but once again, how much technical business analytics is and what language skills students must possess for what are the requirements for business analytics?
The computer languages, don't worry about having those. Like I said, you'll learn for sure R and Python and SQL. You'll learn other languages depending upon the classes like Tableau and other technical skills. I would say, you can't be afraid of the mathematics. You certainly, have to have an understanding of calculus. You don't have to know how to program. We'll teach you how to do that. We've accepted a broad range of people. We've had history students come in because history is starting to use data to kind of study history by looking at actual numbers. And they don't know how to program, but they couldn't be afraid of math. So I would say you don't need to come in with technical skills, but you can't be afraid of learning technical skills.
Okay. So a little bit of maths is required. Maths
Yes.
knowledge, right?
Math knowledge. I know the GMAT. They tell students that the math level in GMAT is through high school trigonometry. And that's a pretty, I don't know what it is for the GRE. It might be a little bit more than that. But that's kind of, we don't expect even college level mathematics, but review your math, make sure you can get through some, you can certainly get through algebra for that test. And if you can do algebra very well and probably understand, remember some calculus. I took one semester of calculus in my undergraduate program, just because I needed a liberal arts class and I loved math, and so that's all I took. And from then on, my college career was full of nursing classes, and I'm in this field and I do just fine.
Yes. And technical, do they also require any computer language skills?
No.
No, not at all?
No,
okay.
Not at all. I mean, it's nice to have that because I think it's a very a logic kind of way to train your brain. And people with computer programming skills are a little bit ahead of other people, but you don't need them.
Right. So to the next question, what are the various scholarship opportunities in your program?
Like, we have some money for BANA scholarships. It's usually not available until a person is in the program. International scholarships are less available than domestic scholarships. I don't want to promise anybody a scholarship. Money is tight. And so, especially after the COVID things that have shut things down, the economy is suffering. You know, I think you can, there's opportunities for teaching assistants and research assistantship. I think there's a big opportunity that I don't see many students taking advantage of, and that's to participate in the college's tutoring program. And they are very dedicated to help, you know, international students in that with different languages and different skills. And I think a lot of students from the Indian background, you know, they come in with engineering degrees, and we have a lot of undergraduate students who are in our engineering programs that need help with their engineering classes, and they're begging for tutors. And that's a place for you to maybe, you know, find employment through the university. So that I would encourage you to look for, rather than scholarships, some work opportunities at the university.
Yes. And teaching assistantship or research assistantship, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is work experience mandatory to enroll into your program?
No, it is not.
Okay, right. And the next is, what are the key factors you look into before making an admission and scholarship decision? So scholarship, of course, you said that there are not many opportunities.
There's just
But
not, yeah.
yeah,
For admission, I mean, we look for the GRE GMAT test scores, the GPA from and the international department does a transfer, so we get an idea of your performance there. You know, I sit on this committee a lot and do this. I look for scores in quantitative classes. If your TOEFL and those scores are marginal, then if there's work experience and it's clear you're functioning in a business environment, that helps. I really try to get a holistic approach when I'm reviewing admissions applications. You know, if one score is bad, is there something else in your application that leads me to believe you know, maybe the one test score can't define somebody totally. And so I look for someone who seems to understand what they're doing. You know, I guess when I read one of the essay questions and it says, oh, I've always wanted to be a data scientist and I want to learn Hadoop, and no, you know, they don't understand what program they're getting. And so you have to communicate that you understand that you want what we're teaching. You know, I had a class from a professor said one of the best things that a business can do is to know who they don't want for a customer. And I want to help make a decision that I don't want you here if you don't belong here.
right.
And so those are, you know, I want to find successful students.
Correct. Yes, so it's very important to know the difference. The student should know the difference between data science and business analytics and what they are getting into. And I think the SOP, statement of purpose and all that, and maybe they also tell a lot about the student as a complete person. So that is what the student should be seeing, that first of all, they should be very well informed about the program which they are taking and about their future goals. So that is what the admission committee is looking into, right?
Yeah, those statements of why, you know, the essay and why, what do you hope to learn? Why are you applying? Those are important things, because numbers, you can't ever classify someone just on a bunch of numbers.
Correct.
You know, even, you know, Emma said, you know, we're going to look at your failures. Yeah, if you didn't pass a class, but then the next term you took it and did really well, that says something very powerful about somebody's ability to say, I can't do this right now, but I'm going to try really hard next time and I'm going to succeed next time. And so those are, so if you're sitting there saying, I can't do this, I failed, I failed my XYZ class. But okay, you maybe failed it last time, but you didn't fail it the next time. And that's important.
Yes. So basically the qualities of the student, what qualities they are displaying, that is more important. Thank you, Dr. Deborah. And now I'll go over to the student's question. So a student is asking that what is the average profile of students who are admitted to the business analytics program in CU Denver?
I missed a word there. What is the
What's
average?
the average profile? I think the student wants to know that from what stream do usually the students join in to this business analytics program?
Are we talking like what are the average test scores, GPA scores, or just, I
Uh,
mean,
yeah, it might be that way. Yes.
is
And
that what they,
also, what kind of previous background they had, educational background.
we've had, like I said, we've had history majors, we've had educational majors. Right now, we have 2 PhD postdocs who are both immunologists who are in our program. And I don't have any idea why in the age of COVID an immunologist would want a business analytics degree, but they do. And so I think it was last spring, we graduated someone who had a PhD in physics already. He works for NREL, which is our National Renewable Energy Lab here in Golden. So we've had everything from physicists to, just plain business people. A lot of our domestic students are coming from the communications field, cable and telecommunications and things like that. There's a tremendous amount of data that's going on. A few people from Google. We've got a large Google facility a little north of Denver. Um, you know, a few healthcare people. We've not admitted another nurse yet, but we get close. So we get some health administrators that come through. So, from India, the primary group of people are coming in with engineering degrees, to be honest. But that's not to say that, we get other just plain business people that have understood that they need more business. Accountants need a lot of these analytics for their fraud detection. So a little bit of everybody. It's a really eclectic kind of group with the students.
Right. Next question is, what all packages should we explore for Python, R, and SQL? Because learning only basics won't be enough. And what other skills should we possess for the course and for a resume?
Well, I agree that the Python, R, and SQL are just the beginning of what you need. I think that in some respects, other languages, once you have those down, it's not hard to learn other languages. Like I said, the data visualization will teach you Tableau. But languages are happening faster than we can keep up with them. I kind of think, and I tell students that I teach, get the skills and then you can self-teach yourself anything that you need to do. There are so many free tutorials on the web that you can learn almost anything. The university has a free, very good program for MATLAB. If you want to do your homework in MATLAB and use MATLAB, you can do that. We don't formally teach that. You have to be kind of self-directed, but I think that business analytics is a profession where you have to constantly be learning new things. I mean, for myself, with spreadsheets, you know, I started with Lotus 123. That's where I learned all my skills. I then merged to QuattroPro, and now I am an Excel wizard. And it's almost like I got the framework in Lotus 123. So I learned, oh, you should be able to do XYZ in a spreadsheet. And then it's just a matter of what spreadsheet are you in, and then just find out how to do it. And so, no, we don't formally make sure you just get a bunch of programming skills. You know, you can do that in an online program. It's better in our mind that we teach you how to configure the problem and know what you need out of a tool, and then go find that tool and learn it to answer the questions you have.
Okay. So they also want to know, one of the students, that what is the average test score that the student has who gets admitted into business analytics program like GRE or scores especially?
Okay, we mainly go by percentiles because every year the actual numeric score changes a bit with the percentiles, and I hope that this audience understands the difference between a raw score and a percentile. The percentile is comparing you without the current things of a current test. If you're at the 50th or better percentile in the quantitative skills, that's a very strong candidate. We're a little bit lower, like the 30th, 40th percentile in the verbal skills. This is not to say that if you don't score that high, there aren't other things in your resume and in your application package that would ride those scores. But you can be fairly confident that if you have the 50th percentile in your quantitative score and the 40th percentile in your verbal score, that you've got a good chance at being admitted.
Okay. Another student has the question, is business analytics is a technical profile as compared to data analytics?
Business analytics, it's kind of the same as data analytics, with the caveat that we study business problems. Data analytics would include educational analytics, public service analytics. So just different fields that aren't specific to business. We're in a business school, so we study business problems and we find answers to business problems as opposed to something a little bit broader that would be data analytics, but the skills are exactly the same. So if you're not sure that you want to stay in the world of business, you'd learn enough about how to model problems that you could take that into the field of education, for example, or healthcare.
Okay. So data analytics is a much wider subject, and
It's not really the techniques and what the learning isn't much different. It's just the class of problems we apply it to.
Right. So business analytics is more specific and it is more related to business, and
Right.
data analytics is like more generic type of a subject, right?
That's correct.
Right. Okay. Next is it beneficial if we mention about our startup failure in our SOP? How is this beneficial for our admission in MS program?
It's important. Spend time working on it. Have people proofread it for you. Make sure SOP is statement of purpose. I take it. They're important. They're not going to be the final decision. Like I said, the admissions committee takes a very holistic view on your application. So, don't shortchange any part of it.
Dr. Kellogg,
Yes.
The question was specifically asking that should we mention about a startup failure?
Startup failure. I'm not, I guess I'm not understanding the question.
The startup, like some of the students, they start their own business and they fail into it. And can they mention this in the statement of purpose?
Of course, if it gives us a better picture of who you are and what you want to accomplish and what you have accomplished and how you've, you know, kind of overcome adversity or had successes, I would mention it, of course.
Yes. I think failure is a very important part because it reflects the what you have learned from the failure, because many times success doesn't teach us as much as our failures do. So it
Yeah,
is okay, yeah, to mention your failures, but at the same time, what you should be also mentioning is what did you learn from it and how are you putting it into use for future, right?
that's correct. I saw something on the web just yesterday that said, you know, we have a kind of a cliche in our culture that, you know, something worth doing is worth doing well. And they said that can just paralyze people. Maybe that cliche should be something worth doing is worth doing badly. You know, at least try to do something and don't worry so much if it's going to be good or bad, that you'll find out that if you at least try, it's probably going to be better than if you know, don't try at all. And so, yeah, I would mention my failures.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Kellogg. I don't think there is one more question. Wait, let
Okay.
me see. How is analytics different from informatics?
I think informatics, back at the slide with the pyramid, informatics is kind of that blue level, and they kind of tell you what is going on right now. In addition, their informatics has a lot of security and database management, and the data part of that, the whole equation is very important for the informatics. And so analytics puts that gold top on top of that pyramid with actual more model building rather than just modeling, you know, this is my ROI right now, this is the return on investment. Rather than, so informatics is kind of just the snapshot of what's happening now, in addition to all the cybersecurity and database security and the management and the configuration, which analytics can't survive without. You can't just take that top of the gold part of the pyramid and have a good analytics future. You need all that bottom too. So I'm not trying to say that it's not as important as analytics. It's just, it just doesn't go all the way to the top of the pyramid.
So informatics is also an important part of the curriculum of data analytics, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, we won't go deep into data security and database management, but that's where electives come in. If that's important to someone's career path, then you petition to take an out of BANA elective, and then you take those cybersecurity or database management courses and you know, get those skills for yourself.
Right. I think the student must also be wanting to know that whether management in information systems like MIS and DA or business analytics, what is the difference between the two?
They are not the same at all. Management information systems is more, I mean, that's even down to the idea, you know, strategic use of information in businesses. how you actually do the management of a information systems arm. How do you hire? How do you configure? And then how do you control the asset of management? How do you control the human resources involved in management? We're very, very different from that in that it's like, what is a business problem? What does a business decision maker need to know? What data do I need? How do I solve that problem? So we're not very managerial at all, which is why I probably recommend the project management course, because that's the biggest part of management that you're ever going to get in our program is managing projects.
Right. So that's all from our students.
Okay.
And yeah, so Emma, would you like to have some message for students and attendees of the webinar today?
Yeah, so thank you everyone so much for joining us. If anyone is interested in applying, please feel free to reach out to us. The application is closed for fall 2020, so the next intake open is going to be spring 2021. So please feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in applying for spring 2021.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kellogg and Emma, helping me to coordinate with Dr. Kellogg and making this event a success. So thank you so much for your time, Dr. Kellogg. And
Thank you.
we really had a wonderful session with you. Very interesting, very comprehensive, and very, very complete, I can say. So thanks
Yes.
a lot. Yeah. And
I learned a lot too.
wish you a great day ahead. And I also thank our globalizers team, especially the Mr. Rahul, for putting through all these technicalities of the webinar, and our marketing team, Ms. Naina Garg. And thanks to all of you students for attending the webinars and keeping up the interest in international education. And we are always there to help you. So please do keep in touch with globalizers. Whenever you need, we are there to help you. So have a great evening, everyone. And have a great day, Dr. Kellogg and Emma.
Oh, you have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.